Have you ever felt like you've tried everything and still failed? Like the world is moving forward, but you're stuck behind no matter how hard you push. Before you decide to quit, listen to this story. Because sometimes, the moment you want to give up is the same moment life is about to change. There once was a teenage boy named Ethan Miller. He lived in a quiet town in Ohio with his mom and little sister Amy. Ethan wasn't from a rich family. His mom worked double shifts at a diner just to pay their bills. They didn't have much, but she gave him one thing that mattered more than money: belief. She always said, "Ethan, don't quit halfway. You never know what's waiting at the finish line." From a young age, Ethan loved creating things. He'd collect old radios, broken fans, and leftover wires, and try to make something new. Dreaming wasn't the problem. Stopping was. His biggest dream was simple but powerful: to build a cheap electric scooter from spare parts, so his mom wouldn't have to walk miles to work every day. So, after school, while his friends hung out or played basketball, Ethan would sit in that rusty old garage, surrounded by tools, scribbling designs and experimenting. People called him Scrap Boy. His classmates laughed. Even neighbors pitied him. "Still playing with junk, kid?" one of them chuckled. But Ethan didn't reply. He just smiled and kept working. For months, he saved every coin he could. He fixed people's broken gadgets for a few dollars and used the money to buy old batteries and motors. Finally, after 2 long years of testing and failing, he built something he was proud of: his scooter prototype. It looked rough, but worked surprisingly well. A local science fair was being held at a school, and for the first time, Ethan felt confident that people would finally see what he was capable of. He stayed up for days perfecting it. His fingers were covered in grease, his eyes red and heavy. On the morning of the fair, he placed everything carefully in the back of his old pickup and pressed the button to start it one last time. Nothing. The motor sparked, then died out with a tiny puff of smoke. He tried again, still nothing. Panic set in. Sweat ran down his face. He took the motor apart, scanned every connection, but nothing worked. His mother called out, "Ethan, you'll be late." But he didn't move. His dream, the one he had worked on for years, had suddenly fallen apart. At the fair, he stood quietly while others presented their robotic arms and colorful projects. His scooter sat silent, lifeless, unwanted. That night, he came home, shut the garage door, and sank to the floor in exhaustion. He didn't cry. He just stared at the broken machine and muttered, "Maybe they were right. Maybe I'm chasing nothing." When his mom walked in, she looked at the silent boy she'd raised and said softly, "Ethan, you can rest. You've earned that. But please, don't you dare give up on something your heart still believes in." He didn't answer, but somewhere inside, something moved. At 2 a.m., Ethan woke up suddenly. He kept hearing her words, "Don't you dare give up." He walked quietly into the garage. The air was cold, the silence heavy. He turned on a single lamp and stared at the scooter. "This isn't over," he whispered. For the next few hours, he worked carefully, removing wires, checking each connection. His hands trembled from fatigue, his eyelids heavy. And then he noticed it, a tiny, loose wire on the main switch. Something so small he missed it before when he was overwhelmed by frustration. He tightened the connection, held his breath, and pressed the power button. The motor stuttered, then roared to life. Ethan froze, then laughed, then cried. It worked, it really worked. He stepped on the scooter, rolled a few feet forward, and shouted, "Mom, it runs." His mom rushed in, eyes wide with surprise. When she saw it moving, she just hugged him tight. No words, just tears and pride. Ethan fixed the remaining flaws and later demonstrated it to the local science fair organizers. They recorded his story and posted it online, calling him the Garage Genius. Within days, the video spread across the internet. Engineers, college professors, even small investors from nearby towns reached out to support him. By the time Ethan turned 19, he had developed multiple working models that local workers could use. Cheap, durable, and efficient. All because he didn't stop one step before success. A few years later, at a motivational event, a student asked him, "Ethan, when everyone told you to quit, what made you keep going?" Ethan smiled and said, "Because I realized something that night. Failure isn't when something doesn't work. Failure is when you decide to stop trying." He paused, then added softly, "The difference between failure and success was just one loose wire." Let that sink in. How many of us are just one small step away, one decision away, from the result we've been dreaming of? How many people stop climbing just before the peak, believing they'll never reach it? Sometimes we give up not because it's impossible, but because we're tired, because we think our efforts don't matter. But Ethan's story proves something. When you feel like quitting, that's when your story is being tested. The ones who make it, the ones who touch greatness, aren't the strongest or smartest. They're simply the ones who held on a little longer. So, if you're listening right now feeling lost, defeated, or ready to quit, pause. Not permanently. Just catch your breath. Then get back up. Because your dream might be only one try away. Your greatness might be just one turn of the wrench, one small loose wire away. Never let a temporary setback convince you to give up on something permanent. Remember, the world doesn't celebrate those who start. It celebrates those who finish. Ethan Miller did. And you can too. If this story touched your heart, hit the like button. Not for me, but as a promise to yourself that you won't give up easily again. Share this story with someone who needs a reminder to keep going, because your share might be the tiny spark that reignites their belief. And if you love inspiring stories like this, subscribe for more tales that light up your heart and remind you what's truly possible. Because in this channel, we don't give up early. We grow stronger with every failure, every setback, every try. Greatness isn't far. It's right beyond this next step. Keep walking toward it.